I gotta tell you, there's parts of this that I liked, but the parts that I didn't like speak to something that's, ew. Good morning to you. Good Monday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is Daily Shot of Penguins. It comes your way bright and early every weekday. If you're into football and or baseball, I also offer daily shots of Steelers and Pirates in the same place that you found this. Jets 6, Penguins 3 yesterday in Winnipeg, Manitoba. For 2 periods, it was a pretty good hockey game. And considering the Jets are now 5-0, and man, do they look like they're for real. We don't know if that'll hold up. That was kind of impressive. But then what ends up happening, and what happened in this third period, again, is that the players who aren't very good and or aren't necessarily a good fit for the Mike Sullivan system end up exposing you. And when they expose you, they do it in a big way. It comes in the form of an odd man break, a clean breakaway, a guy being left wide open in the low slot. That's been the pattern through 7 games. That pattern didn't abate. And even with Alex Nedeljkovic in there giving you good goaltending, and he was good, I don't care what the numbers were, we're now through 7 games of this. And even though Tristan Jarry was outwardly bad, to the extent that the coaching staff actually made him a healthy scratch yesterday, can't say I saw that coming, goaltending is not the principal issue here. Might have appeared that way at the outset because for whatever reason, when the Penguins would, pull Jarry and put somebody else out there, they seem to get motivated and whatever else. But that's not it. Not after 7 games. Rather, it's that they're just poor defensively. And a lot of that, if you want me to go all the way here, isn't the way Sullivan and everyone else is going to try to paint it. Is, that they're not all doing their jobs. They're not all tracking back. They're not all fighting for pucks and 50-50 this or that. It's that they've got some defensemen who are either bad defensemen or defensemen playing badly. When I see, for example, Ryan Graves knock over Mark Scheifele at the side of the net, which is a good thing. That's what you want a big guy to do. And then just completely lose awareness of him. Shot comes in from center point. Puck drops down. Graves is already facing the opposite direction. He already went into puck watching mode. Scheifele just slams it into an open net. This episode is brought to you by Bet Online, your number one source for all your summer sports needs this season. From Major League Baseball, golf, NHL, NBA playoffs. Get the latest odds and lines, including all team matchups, player props, odds on just about everything that's out there. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Bet Online, where the game starts. When I see the goal that I think it was Vladislav Namestnikov that scored it, but it was off a giveaway up the right boards in the Pittsburgh zone by Matt Grzelcyk. It was a pass that was sort of intended for Lars Eller, who was along those boards, but not really, because he kind of slid it in front of him for no reason. By the time Eller gets there, Connor's there first. Connor's a super fast dude. There's no chance for anybody, including Grzelcyk, to recover, and Namestnikov just has a tap in. These are goals that are given up by your defenseman. I don't happen to believe that either of these two should be regular NHL defensemen, but I'd also be remiss if I didn't point out that the Penguins' presumed top 3 haven't been any good, at least not anywhere near where they should be. Chris Letang hasn't been good defensively. Erik Karlsson hasn't been good defensively. Marcus Pettersson, maybe the team's single most dependable player at any position last season, hasn't been good defensively. And I know I'm up to 5 now, but here's the thing. The 6th is an even worse situation because that was supposed to be Jack St. Ivany, whose advanced metrics are every bit as bad as what your eyes are telling you. And now he can't even get into the lineup ahead of Ryan Shea. Now, that's a whole lot of badness. And again, whenever you talk about things like this, it always sounds like, aha, you're blaming this instead of this, or you're blaming this instead of this. No, there's a bunch of different things to blame. Could the defensemen's jobs, their collective jobs, be made easier by forwards tracking back more diligently, by forwards picking up assignments and not blowing them the way Noel Acciari did the other night against the Hurricanes? Yes, of course. Yes, it all has to happen, and it has to happen in conjunction with goaltending. But what to me feels like the scariest part of all this is that I don't know what the answers are here on the blue line. I don't know who your defensemen are if it isn't these guys, because you're not going to make a trade that's going to improve upon anybody who's here. I don't see anybody in Wilkes-Barre where I'd say, oh yeah, I got to get that guy here. And I should remind, even if this is just to cause further pain, that the Penguins' very best defenseman in training camp was 18-year-old Harrison Brunick. I don't mean best defense prospect. I mean best defenseman. And he's back in juniors for good. So barring Sullivan changing his system to something that's safer, that doesn't involve the kind of risk-taking, specifically the pinching in the offensive zone that he's done for years, I don't know what else you got. I don't know what else. It might be time. It might be time for Sullivan and Kyle Dubas at Dubas's behest to have a talk. What are we going to do here? We're giving up all these chances here, and we're still trying to make the same system work. It can't just be about go get 'em, boys, because for 2 periods yesterday, boys were going to go get 'em. And then it fell apart. When we come back, J1Q. Today's J1Q comes from Eric, who asks, DK, is Sidney Crosby mad about something? He looks completely disinterested over the past few games. Not that he's the only one, but he's almost never guilty of that. You know, I have a rule, a personal rule that I've shared with listeners here over the years, and that is that if I'm going to criticize Sid, I'm going to do it in the proper context, meaning that every single time I do it, he comes back in the next game and puts like 4 pucks in the net and makes me look like a fool. So I have that on the record now. And I also have a similar observation to what you're seeing. I don't think it's disinterest. I don't sense that from him at all. I think he came into this season with real optimism about what's being built, with a real good feeling about it. What I can't know, obviously, is whether he's, nursing something, whether he's got some kind of injury. He is obviously very much deserving of the benefit of the doubt. Okay. I will always, always, always skew in that direction when it comes to Sid. Now, that said, it's one thing to be disinterested or whatever. You're entitled to that view. I don't share it. But when you see that the game is 3-3, there's a defensive zone draw. This is early in the third period, and it's against Adam Lowry, who is Winnipeg's captain and a really, really solid two-way guy that doesn't get enough appreciation throughout the league. Lowry cleans Sid on the draw. Okay, again, no criticism here. That happens. Even the very, very best face-off people win 60%. So Lowry wins it back to the left point. Those of you who are listening to this program who have partaken in this beautiful sport at any level, all of you can answer this. What's a center do when the center loses a draw in the defensive zone? Right, you follow the other center. So the puck goes to the left point. Lowry goes right to the net, unabated. Sid pretty much froze at the dot. which is not a good look at all. Again, he's entitled to have the occasional lapse and everything else, but it's a 3-3 game. You've got a chance to come away with a really impressive W on the road against an undefeated team. And you'd like for that not to be when the lapse occurs. Puck goes to the net. Lowry easily bangs it home. People who have no idea what it is that they're watching or start to talk about the goaltender and whatever else. This one was on Sid. The winning goal, Winnipeg's winning goal, was on Sid. The moment that I described earlier as having broken this team's back was on Sid. Now, what's not on Sid is everything that follows. You don't need to fall apart because you fall behind by a single goal early in the third period. Which brings me back to my overall feeling that the reason the team is falling apart and giving up all these odd man breaks and breakaways is some combination of not having very good defensemen, having your very good defensemen not be very good defensemen, and having your coach's very outdated, possibly, system not adjusting to the talent or the lack of talent at hand. I appreciate the question. I appreciate everybody listening to Daily Shot of Penguins, and we're going to do another one of these tomorrow.